The Resident Evil 4 Remake just got leaked again with some pretty interesting info that might surprise you. In this video, I will be breaking down these said leaks and giving my personal thoughts about them. Make sure to subscribe for more Resident Evil content like this, and with that being said, let's get right into it.
Resident Evil 4.
So starting off, some of this information the leaker talks about in the post has already been previously stated. This includes 2 cut enemies, stalker roles in the game, more backstory for Dr. Salvador and the Merchant, an expanded role for Ashley, and a similar gameplay style to the RE4 Remake. Now aside from the leaks we have already heard, there are many new and very interesting things that this leaker mentions. Starting off, they state that the Hookman will be in the game and will act as a boss encounter. Now this does seem very likely since we are already seeing some beta assets being used, like Leon's beta coat and Ashley's beta outfit. Also, there was those leaks from a very reliable source claiming we will see a ton of beta concepts appear in the remake. I know a lot of people don't want to see the Hookman in the remake because the game would take a supernatural approach, but I personally think it would be such a missed opportunity if Capcom didn't have him appear. The next leak states that Krauser will be in the remake and his character will be fleshed out more. Now this is actually very interesting because as we know, there was previous leaks that were stating that Krauser would be cut from the remake. Some people may disagree, but I feel like Krauser has to be in the remake because of his significant role he played in the original, and he was the one that kidnapped Ashley to gain Sadler's trust. Moving on, the leaker states that you will start the game playing as Ashley. This is another one that does seem very possible due to the trailer showing Ashley running from something in the beginning trails of the village. Next up, it states that the remake will have 8 new enemies, with one of them being giant spiders. Personally, I really don't find giant spiders being fitting at all for this game, but if they are going to be added, then I could see them appearing during the sewer section of the game in the castle. Now 8 new enemies does seem like a lot, but you gotta keep in mind the many scrapped enemy designs that never made it into the game. There were scrapped Ganado designs, scrapped Regenerator designs, scrapped Garrador designs, and many other unique enemy designs that never made it into the game. There was also that leak that stated that there would be a jester enemy that chases you with a spear in the sewers, and you also can't forget about the Hookman. So yes, 8 new enemies does sound like a lot, but with that said, there are plenty of potential concepts that can fill these numbers. The next leak states that the game will have a lot of stealth, which I personally dislike the sound of. The original RE4 was all about action and taking out any enemies that you could find, and with the remake being more stealthy, I feel like it would almost take away from the action-heavy gameplay. But on the other hand, the stealth approach could make the game more suspenseful and scary by having to sneak past enemies. Moving on, the leaker states that Dr. Salvador will be much taller and act as a stalker type enemy in the game. So when they say taller, I feel like they're most likely talking about the Waterworld design for the chainsaw enemy. He was much bigger overall and a lot more aggressive, which would be a perfect fit for a stalker type enemy in my opinion. Now I'm totally okay with them adding a stalker role, but Capcom has to take a different approach with this role. The past 4 RE games have pretty much been a copy and paste with their stalker enemies, so the whole stalker concept is really starting to get old. They need to try something new with this role and make the said stalker as terrifying as possible. Now going back to Dr. Salvador, the leaker also states that Dr. Salvador will show up to the iconic cabin fight and act as a boss encounter. This actually sounds really cool, especially since Luis would most likely fight alongside you. The next leak states that you can switch between first and third person, the kick actions will return, and the game will feature new locations. If they do add new locations, I think it would be pretty cool if they added the blimp area from Resident Evil 3.5 as a nice callback to the original. As for the camera switch, I feel like this is very likely because as we know, RE8 is getting its own third person mode while also featuring first person. Next up, the leaker states that the Bella sisters will be cut from the game. I'm not gonna lie, this would be a little bit of a bummer if true, but if Capcom plans on cutting anything from the game, hopefully it is replaced with something much better. Now this next leak is pretty big, as they state that Albert Wesker will be a boss in the game. As we know, Wesker never came into contact with Leon in the game, since he only appeared when calling Ada. So with him having his own boss fight, hopefully that means he will play a much bigger role in the story. The next leak states that the Sadler final boss fight will have 2 stages. One will be his human form and the other will be his spider form. This will definitely add a much needed bigger challenge to this fight. The leaker then states that side characters will have their own mini-story DLC. This is also much needed, especially for Luis, but I think it would also be pretty interesting to give Krauser his own mini-story and show his perspective throughout the game. Lastly, the leaker states that a demo release date is set for November, December, or January, which is actually pretty weird because most RE demos come out just weeks before the release, and as we know, the RE4 Remake isn't getting released till March of 2023. But anyways guys, those were all of the brand new leaks regarding the RE4 Remake. Be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments below about these leaks. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.